Hallo, guten Tag und willkommen bei Deutsch in Newstead Wood School. Also ich heiße Frau Keating, and I'm one of the German teachers here in Newstead Wood School. So I'll be taking you through this video presentation today. Okay, so this is the run through, the overview of what we'll be looking at in the video. So, zuerst willkommen, dann EQA Erwartungen, was machen wir der Film und was meinen unsere momentanen Schüler. So just a quick kind of overview of what our classes are like, then we'll do an AQA overview, what's expected in the exams, be it for AS or A-level. And then we're going to look at what we do in lessons, what books we use and what the topics are. We're then going to have a brief look at the film, and then lastly we have some clips from students from year 12 and how they found year 12, and then how they're finding this year, the same students again, how they're finding it this year in year 13. So that'd be quite good to see. Also, willkommen. As you can see here, I have written in German, but I'll explain in English. Our classes tend to be quite small for German, which is quite good. So we tend to usually have between 5 and 10 students, roughly, which is quite good because we have small groups, and that allows us for more discussion, and we can get into more in depth into some of the topics. And have more discussion together and go back over things as well. It also allows for kind of more in-depth projects as well. So if we're studying a particular topic, I don't mind if people want to work in pairs or individually, and then they can kind of do a little research project on the side as well, and kind of present to the class or discuss it with the rest of the class too, to kind of further learn about the different topics we're working on. There are two German teachers. So there's Frau Casey, who is from Germany herself, and she is the head of the languages department as well as one of the German teachers and head of the German department. There's myself then, Frau Keating. So what we usually do is we kind of tend to split the classes, so there'll be 2 lessons a week with Frau Casey and 2 lessons a week with myself. And then there's also Frau Bagwell, who is our language assistant, and then you do about a half an hour a week speaking session with Frau Bagwell as well. So you've quite a good all-around approach to learning the language. Okay, so here then we have our results. So from last year we have 100% A-star to B grades, which is excellent. And we've been really lucky that we have students that are really interested in the language and developing German, and that passion has resulted in these really good results as well. So they put in a lot of good work, and we have nice atmosphere in our classes as well. We try to make it as fun as possible while learning as we go too, obviously. And so obviously we're delighted with the results we achieve in German. Moving ahead then, we're looking forward to beyond German in secondary school. A lot of the students do carry on with German into university level. We previously have had students that went to Oxbridge with German as well, which is fantastic. So I myself have worked in different careers using German, and I mention that to some of my students whenever they have queries. So I've worked for Airbnb, I've worked for Pernod Ricard, I've worked for Redbubble, I have friends that work for Google, who work in investment banking with German, and who work in the central bank in Frankfurt as well. And all of these jobs were, people got these roles, or I got roles and my friends got roles because of their German. So I do really emphasize how important and what an advantage German is to have in a future career. So whether or not you're unsure of whether you would like to carry on with German in university, or whether you'd like to just do straight German, but also there's the option, remember as well, that you can take German as an extra module in university, and that would be a great benefit. So even if you were to go away and look up certain careers on a careers website right now, say for example science, if you look up a role in science, and then if you go look up that same role again with German language, you'll see there's a huge difference in salary, because having these careers with an advantage of an extra language, particularly German, because it's very hard to find German speakers, you'll see there's a huge boost in the salary because they're in demand. So whatever it is you're looking to do down the line, or what you're thinking of down the line, just remember that German is a huge advantage with that as well. So be it science in German, could be law in German, politics in German, finance in German is quite a lot of big industry as well. And there's a lot of engineering and engineering and inventive works in Germany as well. A lot of careers that can be kind of used along those lines too, if you have an interest in that as well. So German, when you think of German, you don't just have to do it straight in university or just do arts with it. That's fine too. But just remember as well, if you have an idea of what you'd like to do, think about maybe choosing German as well as the thing you'd like to study, if you don't want to study just straight German on its own or arts on its own. However, like I said, I have plenty of friends that did arts on its own or did German in university, just straight German on myself, and it worked out really well. Okay, so moving back to what we do in class. So here then are the AQA expectations. So if you were to do AS German, paper 1 is listening, reading and writing, and that covers aspects of German speaking society, artistic culture in the German speaking world, and bits of grammar as well come up in that. Paper 2 then is writing, and this is based on a text or a film from one of the lists. Now, we study Das Leben der Anderen, which is a film. It was from 2006, and we'll talk about that later on. And we study that in year 12. Then paper 3 is speaking, and you are assessed on one sub-theme from the aspects of German-speaking society and one sub-theme from artistic culture in the German-speaking world. So that's the AS expectations. Then for A-level, if you're to carry on, and we would recommend that people carry on if they can, paper 1 is listening, reading and writing. Again, aspects of German-speaking society, artistic culture in the German-speaking world, multiculturalism in German-speaking society, aspects of political life in German-speaking society, and again, grammar comes up there in that too. Paper 2 then is writing. So what's assessed? We have one text and one film is what's assessed, and obviously grammar will come through in that as well. So you would still be using the film that you learn in that you come across in year 12. So for us, it's Das Leben der Anderen, and you just build on what you've learned from year 12, and you also take up a text as well. So we studied Der Besuch der alten Dame is our text-based one as well. Then paper 3 is speaking, and that's an individual research project that you go away and prepare yourself. And then there's one of 4 themes, so aspects of German-speaking society, artistic culture in German-speaking world, multiculturalism in German-speaking society, or aspects of political life in German-speaking society. And that's the A-level expectations. Also, die Bücher. So here are the books that we use in class. So for year 1, so basically for year 12, we use the AQA German books. That's the one here on the far left. We use that in class. Then for A-level, we would use the one on the far right, A-level year 2. Now the green book in the middle is a grammar and translation workbook. We would recommend that you purchase this. It's not 100% necessary. We do use it in class, and I do photocopy from it as well. However, students do find it really, really useful as well for kind of some extra study as well that they use. Okay, so these are the topics that we look at in year 12. So I've just taken these from the book, as you can see. So aspects of German-speaking society, and within that we have one unit that's Familie im Wandel, so the kind of changing family unit. Then unit 2 is Die digitale Welt, so you would have covered that in year 11. Unit 3 then is Jugendkultur, Mode, Musik und Fernsehen, so fashion, music and TV and kind of youth culture. Then we go on to the next theme, which is artistic culture in the German-speaking world. So Feste und Traditionen. Again, you would have done that in your GCSE, and this is building on that now as well. Then we have Kunst und Architektur, and then we have Das Berliner Kulturleben damals und heute. So we have art and architecture, so I take that module, and then we have Das Berliner Kulturleben. So we also have the cultural life in Berlin too. So really, really interesting topics there as well. And we do make it interesting in class. So students get to go away and pick an artist and an architect as their choice and do a little bit of research on those, and then we present them to the class. And so we learn about more artists and architecture that way too, as well as studying it from the book and going through my own presentations, obviously. For Unit 6 then, with the Berlin culture, one of the tasks that we do in that, for example, that makes it a bit more interesting is the students plan a trip to Berlin, a virtual trip to Berlin, I should say. And we use Google Maps, and they pick hotels where we'd stay, what would you visit, and things like that. So it's quite fun and interactive. Okay, here then is the film. So the film is Das Leben der Anderen. So it's from 2006, and Florian Henkel von Donnersmarck is the director. It's quite a well-known film. It's obviously in German. We watch it in class as well, but we do watch it with subtitles, so don't worry too much about it. It's about Germany in the 80s. It's before the fall of the Berlin Wall, and it's in East Germany. So it's based on the tactics of the secret police in East Germany. They're called the Stasi. And basically, this man here, who's holding up the binoculars in the central photo, and he has the earphones on in the other photos, he is an agent of the Stasi, and he has to undertake a mission to investigate and spy on and bug a writer's apartment. So that's the guy here on the right corner then as well. And he kind of gets more and more involved in this artist's life, and kind of the story develops from there. So don't want to give too much away. It's a very, very interesting film. It did win Oscars as well back in 2006, and it's the students like it as well. Over here then on the top right hand side you'll see there's a book, so it's Das Leben der Anderen, and that's by Hodder, and this is a book that we recommend getting as well in order to study the film. So we do use this in class. We don't move up, you don't need it straight away if you have to come to our lessons, but we start looking at the movie in around November time. We usually then as well go to a BFI German Film Day. Obviously this year it's not happening with the coronavirus and lockdown, but hopefully it'll be back up and running next year. Basically we go into Central London, we go to the BFI, the British Film Institute, and we look at the series of lectures on German movies and German speaking films. And it's really interesting, and they do tend to cover topics for the AS and A level there as well, and they do mention Das Leben der Anderen. It's quite interesting. Here then we have two testimonials from two of our students when they were in year 12. So we've Eloise and Maddie. So they made these testimonials at the end of year 12 during the summer there. Now they're currently in year 13. So on the next slide, you'll also see how they're finding year 13 at the moment.
Hi, I'm Eloise and I'm a current German student, also studying history and politics. I've really enjoyed studying German this year. I think that the GCSE German topics often seem quite boring and useless for a real conversation with German speakers, but in year 12 this really changes and there's a definite shift towards learning about the German culture and obviously the relevant vocabulary for that. Particularly there's a bigger focus on the history and German society. For example, this year we studied Berlin as a topic, which included learning about the history there, the current kind of tourism industry there, and the diversity of the city, which was a really interesting topic. I also know that next year we study a lot about politics and the EU and immigration in Germany, which I'm really, really excited for. The topics which you start with in year 12 as well are kind of just extensions of the GCSE ones, which definitely helps kind of ease your way into the A levels, so you're not launched with anything too new too quickly. Das Leben der Anderen, which is the film that we study for A level, was also really interesting, not only because it was a really great experience learning about a film in a different language, but also because of the history of the film and kind of where it was set, which was in East Berlin in the 1980s with communism and the Cold War, and I think that was really, really interesting to learn about. In A level, the lessons are definitely quite different to GCSE. They're obviously a lot smaller, but also a lot more discussion based, but this really helps develop your speaking skills and your listening skills, which is something that kind of isn't really developed as much in GCSE, I found. We also have a weekly session with Frau Bagwell, who's the language assistant for German, and you speak with her about just topics that you're learning at the moment, or about, you do an oral card together, which is really great for developing exam technique. So yeah. Good luck with your GCSE results, and I hope that you choose German for A level.
Hello everyone, I hope you're enjoying your German taster session so far. German is a really great subject to take at A level, and the languages department in general at Newstead is really great, so I promise you you're in safe hands for the whole course. I have really enjoyed German in year 12 so far, and I think my favourite thing has been the incredible breadth of topics you study, ranging from fashion to families to Berlin, and everything is very current and up to date within the world, within German and German speaking countries, so it's genuinely interesting to learn about. Another highlight has been the film Das Leben der Anderen. At first the thought of analysing a film in general really scared me, let alone a film in German, but part of the reason why it's actually a lot better than it sounds is because the film itself is genuinely amazing. Like, I really enjoyed watching it. and the more you do it, the more practice you have at writing essays, you actually learn to really enjoy writing, and because it's such a good film, it's quite a pleasure to be able to write about it. If I have any advice for studying German in Year 12, I think my main thing would be get on top of learning vocab. Obviously, there's many aspects of learning a language, and vocab is just a small part, but it's very difficult, especially in the lessons, to kind of keep on top of everything that's going on if you just don't have that basic vocab, if you haven't learned it, because you're struggling to just understand the basic text. So that'd be my main advice. But yeah, German is really great, and I really hope you enjoy the course and enjoy it here at Newstead.
Hello everyone, my name is Maddie and I'm obviously doing German A-level, and I'm really hoping to do German at university as well alongside linguistics. I think German is such a good subject to study at A-level because firstly I find that it works really well with my other subjects. I do geography and English as well, and there are topics especially in geography that overlap directly with what I'm doing in German, funnily enough. And in terms of English, it's just really helpful having the knowledge of how another language functions and forms. I find that that's a really transferable skill to English. The average German lesson is very interesting. They're all kind of different. We do a lot of varied skills ranging from like reading and writing activities to listening, and as well as just a lot of peer discussion, because obviously that's a key part. We use a textbook a lot obviously, but also especially for the more current affairs and politics topics, a lot of the resources we use come directly from current affairs, so that's really beneficial as well, just using direct German websites as guidance. We also have weekly speaking sessions with Miss Bagwell. They're half an hour long each. Currently we're doing them over Teams, but they're really helpful as well. It's just like half an hour of solid conversation, and that's a really great way to practice our language learning skills. The aspect of studying German A-level that I enjoy most would probably be just how diverse it is. Obviously you have, you know, the vocab, the grammar, which is really enjoyable to learn as well, but just learning the content, the culture, and how everything ties in with politics and current affairs I find really interesting as well. So I would really recommend studying German at A-level.
Hi, my name's Eloise and I'm a Year 13 student studying German history and politics. There are a lot of reasons why studying German at A-level is a really good idea. One of them is that studying a language at A-level is quite rare nowadays, so doing so helps you stand out to universities and to employers. As well as this, it also develops a lot of different skills which can help you in other subjects. So for example, learning grammar and like complex structures, etc. Really helps your problem solving skills, which like I said is really useful for a lot of other things. There are a lot of reasons why I enjoy German A-level. One of them is that the topics that you learn about are really interesting. So for example, in Year 13 we've just started our politics topic, which is so good, and last year we learned a lot about Berlin and about the history there, which was really interesting too. I have a few top tips for you if you do go into learning German A-level. First one is, before you start Year 12, learn your GCSE grammar. Like, I know it doesn't sound like it means that much at GCSE, but at A-level it means so much. To keep up with it throughout A-level, I'd recommend buying like a workbook. So I've got this one from Hodder Education, which has been really great because learning grammar isn't just about like learning the concept. You have to do like drills and exercises and go over it all the time. And adding on to that, learning your vocab is really important too. Obviously you can't express what you want to say unless you know the word for it, so things like Memrise and Quizlet are like your best friend, and you doing them like a bit every day and just working through the topics and getting your points, getting to the top of the leaderboard and stuff is really good. I have really enjoyed German this year and last year. I'm hoping to do a German and history joint degree at university, so that proves how much I like it. Yeah, I really hope you choose German, and good luck with this year.
Okay, so that's the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you all next year. Dankeschön. Tschüss.